Hello, everyone. I am Jackie Van Kampen. I am an intuitive medium, energy healer, and a voice for the spirit guides and beings of light. And I want to welcome you to this week's spirit guided message and energy transmission for week of March 15th. And as I was thinking about something that I want to share today, I remembered an experience that I had not that long ago, like yesterday, and that's about like how we use language and how certain words create a certain response in our minds, and how we then take that word and we end up taking action on that word. So yesterday I was at I was doing a Kundalini yoga session, and to be honest with you, not into yoga all that much, but learning to like it. I know it's beneficial for my body. So I'm doing this yoga session, and it's I'm doing the breathing and I'm doing the arm movement. I'm like, how long am I gonna have to keep my arm extended like this? I feel it's gonna fall off, right? And all of a sudden there was one motion that we had to do. Um, where we had to, I can't even remember, like we had to breathe and like pump our bellies at the same time. And I was like, how do I do this? Like my body cannot compute how this goes. And it was so interesting because in that moment, I heard myself say, wow, this is really hard. And just like I was saying that, another voice came through, the more wise part of myself, and said, it's only hard because your body is not familiar with this movement. And even though it's, might not be a total revelation for some people, it really made me think about how many times do we stop or quit something, quit a job or not a job. You can quit a job too, but quit a goal or, quit a dream or, whatever it is because it feels hard or whatever the word is, right? Whatever limiting word we use unconsciously that will create that sense of, or that will almost create a stopping us from doing something. So even yesterday, as the word came, this feels hard, I immediately felt my body like wanting to stop the exercise, right? But when that other voice came in and reminded me that it wasn't that it was hard, it was because I was not familiar with the movement, then it was kind of like, okay, okay, body, we got this. Like, this might be a little challenging. I may not necessarily know how to move my body in this manner, but I'm going to sit with it and I'm going to get myself familiar with this movement. And it was like amazing because I did it and it felt great, which kind of encouraged me or inspired me to talk about this today. This like really asking yourself, looking at the different areas of your life, whether it's your personal life or business, career, a relationship, maybe it's you want to go back to school and there's that sense of like it's hard, or what's the point, or why am I doing this for, the different words that come up without us even thinking about it that will stop us from moving forward. And I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into bringing the messages from the spirit guides because I really feel they have something that they can offer us to help us get in touch with that part of ourselves that actually is aware. It's kind of like that part of myself that kicked in before I could even like stop the motion of like breathing and pumping my belly at the same time. So if this is you, if you're someone who has been stopped in the past by words that you have told yourself, and you allow that to create self-sabotage, this message is dedicated to you, my friend, because I've been there many times. Hmm. So thank you for being here. Thank you for, allowing me to be this voice for the guides today and to support you on your own path and your own journey so that you don't stop midway. to achieving your goal, achieving your dream, achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. Okay. So I'm going to invite you at this time to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Allowing for the breath to calm your nervous system down. To calm your heart rate. To bring you back into this present moment, to bring you back into your body. Allowing for yourself to be grounded in this moment. Because it is in the space where when we are, when our nervous system is calm, that we get to actually tap into that part of ourselves that, that carries the wisdom, that carries the kind of like that immediate stop, and puts us back into conscious awareness of, what we're creating with the words that we're either saying, with the words that our minds are saying to us. So really bringing yourself into the state of relaxation, relaxing the nervous system so that you can create that um, ability to tap into the more conscious part of yourself. And with that, I'm going to bring in the spirit guides. So, dear Mother, Father, God, great spirit of the universe, we come to you today with an open heart, open mind, ready to receive your guidance. Whatever it is for our highest and best today may come through this circle, may be of highest service to our growth, expansion, experience in this life, experience as a human. And I call in protection for this circle, that only those things that are for our highest and best will come through today. And I call in the beings of light, the guides, the archangels, the ancestors, the ascended masters to come and be of support. And we do so with gratitude, with an open heart. And I complete this by saying, and so it is. Hello, 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 dear ones. We are here. We are here. We are here. We're so very grateful for your presence here today. And what this channel speaks of today is very common in your human experience. It is very common to be stopped at times by words that you learned early on in your life, words that perhaps when you were doing something and your parents said stop, and you stopped and you froze. Or perhaps you were doing running or doing a jump rope or whatever it was, and something felt hard in your body, and you decided, I don't want to do this. This is too hard. And then you created this pattern in your mind that says, this is too hard. This is too difficult. What is the point of me doing this? It's not going to get me anywhere anyway. So stopping yourself from fulfilling a goal, fulfilling a dream, because it is easy to get caught up in these words that carry frequency, carry energy. And sometimes it's not so much the composition of the word itself, but what that word represents, what the meaning of that word is. And so even we can say the word stop, and the word stop can save somebody's life if somebody is about to run in front of a car, or it can actually cause someone to have a reaction where now they stop completely from achieving something that they really want. So creating yourself the ability to be aware of when these thoughts come up is really what's going to help you. Help you in making sure that these words are not in your way of you taking the actions that are necessary for your life. Hmm. And so at this time, we want to bring this channel back. We like to have this conversation where we come in and she can come back in and do more of the work that she knows to do to support you in opening your conscious awareness so that you can more easily catch yourself in that moment when the words are surfacing and you're about to stop. Mm. So we bring this channel back now for this part of the message. Oof, okay. So what I'm being asked to do is to guide you through, let's see, maybe some tapping where we're going to tap on certain parts of our body, certain meridian parts, to begin to unfurl the thoughts that will stop us from taking the action that we want to take. So I'm going to invite you to just take a deep breath. Put your hand over your heart, one hand over the belly. And just be present. Be present with your body, be present with yourself. Good. So we're going to start by tapping your third eye. And even though this is part EFT, I'm also kind of using my own modality around this as well. And I want you to say, everywhere I have been ignoring the unconscious part of myself that stops me from being in awareness of what is stopping me, I now release. And then right here, in the eyebrow line, everywhere I choose not to be conscious of my thoughts, especially the thoughts that create self-sabotage, I am willing to release that now. Side of the eye. Even though it's easier not to have to look at things, I may not want to see what's there. I love and accept myself anyway. Under the eye. Even though sometimes having awareness creates more responsibility, I love and accept myself anyway. Under the lips. Even though being aware of my thoughts can create disruption, I choose my thoughts anyway. Under the lips. Even though I don't always, even though I sometimes prefer to be in the dark about my thoughts, because being aware of my thoughts may bring unpleasant feelings, I love and accept myself anyway. Under the arms, even though my thoughts can seem Hmm, hmm. Actually, we're going to move it to the chest. Even though my thoughts stop me sometimes from moving forward and doing the things I say I want to do, I love and accept myself anyway. The top of the head, even though sometimes I rather believe that ignorance is bliss, I know that being aware is what's going to help me move forward. Now, on the side of the hand, even though I want to be aware, even though I, even though awareness can feel challenging sometimes, I know that it's the way to freedom. On the side of the arms or under the armpits, even though I sometimes prefer to stay ignorant to the things that stop me in life, I love and accept myself. Mm. Back to the chest. Even though I pref- hmm. Okay, the energy is moving, so I want to sit with this for a moment. So just keep tapping around the chest. And if anything does come up for you, then you can say, even though and let that thing come up and you can say it. And you can say, you can end with, I love myself anyway, whatever comes up for you. Right now, what I'm feeling is that there is just energy movement. So instead of adding more words to it, I rather just sit here and just continue to tap around the chest area because sometimes there's a lot of energy that holds in the chest. And it's interesting because your heart chakra, it's actually the midpoint between your lower chakras and your upper chakras. So a lot of stuff sometimes just kind of sits in the heart. So even clearing the heart chakra, can really help the flow that goes between the lower chakras and the upper chakras. So just continue to tap right there. And I'm going to ask you to bring up something that you see or you feel, or even an awareness that may have come up as we were doing this, of something that's been stopping you. Maybe it's a word. Maybe it's like when you're exercising. I'll just give this an example because it's easy. But when I began exercising the beginning of this year in January, um, my stamina was like so low. I started with yoga. It was like basic yoga. And some poses were very challenging, even though it was like beginner's yoga. Doing downward dog, it was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can, how long am I going to have to do this for? Because holding up my arms was really, really challenging. Like my body was not used to that kind of workout anymore. And even though I had worked out in the past before and I was super fit, when you're not using your muscles, they become weak. And that's what happened to me. Like I couldn't do a downward dog for more than maybe, like 10 seconds before I was like ready to collapse. But I kept staying with it. I kept doing it. Until I developed enough muscle strength to hold me for much longer. And after I did the whole yoga program, which was 21 days, was like amazing. It could really feel from day 1 to day 21, how much stronger I was. And then I started another workout program that involved more cardio and involved more, like bar. And I it's just even that program, going into week 5 is just it's like amazing to see the more I work out my body, the more strengthened my body, right? The more my body becomes familiar with these movements and becomes stronger, the more I can stand certain poses. Like even in the beginning, we were working with weights, I just couldn't do it. And now I'm like, to see myself kind of like doing cardio with weights has been amazing. But that took commitment, right, on my part to stick with it. Even though it was quote unquote hard on my body, I stayed with it. So it's the same thing, like if you look at certain areas of your life where you may have felt stopped in the past because if something felt hard or felt challenging and you just didn't want to go there, is there something in your life that you can look at right now where you feel like, okay, I allowed this to stop me? Maybe it was a word, maybe it was whatever it was. Like, can you now choose if you want to? And that's really important. Like, you need to be able, or you need to want to have it, right? Like, I've told myself many times before, I really want to work out again, I want to work out. Guess what? I just didn't do it. Maybe I just didn't want it strong enough, right? It wasn't until this year that I'm like, I'm doing it. And so you really have to want to do it. So if there is that thing that you really want to do, but it's really stopping you from getting there, is just something in your own mind, I want you to take a moment to put your hands, over your heart and breathe and ask yourself, okay, what is it? What is that thing that is preventing me from truly sticking with this, especially when it becomes hard? And I want you to then, once you have that, I want you to tell yourself, it's not hard. I'm just not familiar with it. And what is it going to take to be familiar with this? Is it going to take sticking with the workout program? Is it going to take sticking with a course you're already taking? Is it going to take registering for a, a class? Is it, let's say it's a job situation and, there's something about your job that's difficult and you let that stop you from really learning, what can make it easier for you, and really engaging your mind in the process of, okay, if I learn this, you know, I'm going to get familiar with it and it's going to become second nature to me. So, whatever that is, I want you to just be with it for a moment. And I want you to breathe through what would it look like and what would it be like? What would it feel like? And what is the possible outcome if you choose to let go of the word, the thought, whatever it is that is in the way, and embody the thought, um, I'm going to get familiar with this. I choose to familiarize myself with this. So as you breathe that in, I'm going to tap into a little bit of energy healing here. And take another deep breath in. And I'm going to share a story with you very quickly. So before I started this video that you're watching right now, I recorded, I think, 5 other videos. And every time I was maybe like 5 minutes into it, like I would get lost or I would get something was in the way. And, I had such a deep experience yesterday with the Kundalini yoga and other practices that I was working on yesterday. And I was feeling very emotional. And I was just kind of like, I don't want to do a video today. I really don't. Like, to me, like, I really want to focus on just myself. Like, I don't feel like I have the energy to give to anybody else today. But I kept like coming back to the commitment, right? The commitment piece. I committed to doing a video a week. And there's a part of me that's kind of like, who's watching these videos anyway? Like, I bet you if you don't do a video this week, no one is going to miss it, like somebody waiting for this video. And it's those things, right? It's that mindset that stops us. Kind of like I could have gone with it and be like, you know what? Yeah, maybe there isn't anybody waiting for these videos, and not done the video for this week. But I stayed with it, right? I kept questioning, asking the question to myself, like, what would it really get me in a state where I could really share the experience that I had? What would it take for me to do this video coming from a place of authenticity and not coming from a place of being forced to do the video because that's what I have to do? Right? Because there's that too. There's that, okay, when you commit to something, now you feel like obligated to do it, right? So it comes from the space of inauthenticity. You're doing it because now you have to do it. And I hate doing things that I have to do. I mean, like, I don't play that game. Either I do it because it feels really good to do it and it's in my heart to do it, or fuck it, I'm not doing it. And like, I kept asking the questions, and then I was like, I'm going to do a TikTok video. And it was like this, 80s challenge. And it's like doing these 80 dances. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. And I posted it. And afterward, I felt the sense of like joy come up. And I felt like, okay, this is the time. I really feel like I could do the video now because I'm in a space. I had to put myself in a space of joy, right? I had to like really create something that would tap into that inner joy um, in my own life, so that I could meet the commitment that I had to myself and the commitment that I had to all of you watching this. So, that's the other thing too, is like when you go about your week, um, and especially looking at the things that you're committed to, you know, and you don't feel joy around that commitment, it's like, okay, asking yourself that question: is there something that's stopping me from doing this? Like, am I buying into this idea that it doesn't really matter if I do it or not? Do I feel like this is not good enough, or this is too hard, or whatever the conversation is in your mind? Really sit with, because you create awareness by being quiet, right? Awareness lives in quiet space. So if you don't become the observer of your mind, you don't have the space to notice when those thoughts come up that will stop you. So this week, create that space to become the observer. Create silence in your mind. Create, taking deep breaths, hand on the heart, the other hand on the belly, and just being with your body. Silencing, calming your nervous system enough so that your mind can calm down and that you can be with that space of yourself that's aware. Okay, so when you start to notice this week, that's your homework. When you start to notice that something is in the way of stopping you from achieving something that you said you want to achieve, breathe. Allow for the body to calm down. And then ask the question: what is the thought that is in the way right now? And whatever that thought is, right? Whether it's like, I'm not good enough, it's hard, it's difficult, going, it's not that I'm not good enough, is that I haven't done enough of this to have evidence, to see the evidence of the work, right? It's not that it's hard, it's that my body is not familiar. I'm not familiar with this information. it's not that it's, you know, difficult or whatever the conversation is. It's that I am not familiar with this yet. I don't know enough about this yet. This is what I tell my kids all the time when they tell me, "Oh, mom, this is too, the subject is too hard." I tell them, like, it's not the subject is too hard, is that you haven't taken the time to really learn the material. When you take the time to learn the material, whatever the material is, and you begin to apply it, it becomes second nature, right? When you started kindergarten, you may not have known, how to do addition or how to, spell a hard word, right? You have to learn the letters first. You have to learn how the letters connected to make sounds. You have to learn, when you put numbers together, you get this, right? So remind yourself when things become quote unquote hard, remind yourself what it was like to be in kindergarten and first grade and second grade and all the levels that you had to take, right, to learn and become familiar with. So a challenge is not something to run away from. A challenge is something you get to embrace so that, you can get familiar with it and then you can step into the next level of whatever it is that you're creating for yourself. So, this is my message for you today. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for watching. I appreciate you. And I wish you an amazing week ahead. And until next time, much love to you. Bye.